everybody. This is Artie Hoffman, and today's topic is the problems with overanalyzing and overthinking. A lot of people have a very difficult time about making decisions. And, I just want to say to you that the difference between a psychic and everybody else is that a psychic goes by their first gut instincts without questioning it. And if something is feeling right in your heart to do something or not to do something, you got to follow that gut. If you overthink things too much, all right, you're going to knock yourself out of the ballpark and you don't know what to do. There's a lot of people who keep on putting their power into other people's hands because they overthink, because they're overanalyzing and they don't know what to do, and so they feel very confused and they're afraid to make a wrong move. Well, guess what? Sometimes your best moves is making a wrong move because then you realize through experience what to do and what not to do. So what I want to say to you is that when a situation hits you, all right, when a situation hits you, you want to be able to feel, does this feel right? All right? And when somebody's asking you a very important question, all right, or wants a big time answer for you, whether it be personal or business, don't feel like you have to answer them right away. All right? Let that person know that you will get back to them later on that day, or let me think about it for about a day or two and I'll get back to you. So that when the person comes to you with this big problem or this big issue, you can't always give an answer right away. So, if you write down your pros and your cons to the situation, you'll be able to give a very healthy answer. If you overthink and overanalyze everything too much, then you're not going to get the answer that you want. And maybe you want to run your circumstances by someone else to get a different perspective. That's what's going to help you, come to a healthy decision. All right? But, when you're overly thinking and overly analyzing, it's not healthy. Sometimes it does take a little extra time to figure things out. The funny thing is, my father used to say to me, Artie, why don't you think before you do? I mean, he used to yell at me, like that. Why don't you think before you do? And I said, to tell you the truth, Dad, I never even really thought about it. Because everything that I always did like what felt right for me in the moment. So go more with your feelings of what feels right. Is this the right move? And there's also a time to say things to people. You can't just always, well, you could, but you're going to screw yourself. There's also timing is very important when you say things to people. There's a delivery method when you say things to people, so that you could get the best response from them. You can't just hit anybody at any time. If they're not a morning person, they're not a nighttime person, or when they get home from work, or if they're really hungry, that is not the time to go over anything with anybody when they're not in the best of moods. So my advice to you, like I said, is just go more with your feelings about how something feels. Does it feel right to you? But if you start overly thinking and overly analyzing, going back and forth, you're lost. You're lost. So, or try to meditate on it for a little bit, or get some other advice from somewhere else. And it was my great pleasure sharing time with you. This is Artie Hoffman. I want you to check out artiehoffman.com. I have a really cool YouTube, and you'll see where I'm going to be performing at. And if you want a private reading or a private session, just call me at 877-ANGEL02, and I'll be more than happy to give you a reading. And you take care. Have a great week, everybody.